What is going on, folks? You are on the lifeboat. This is Captain Calhoun speaking. What is going on? Good morning. Happy Friday. Gonna try something new today. Pretty stoked. I'm always stoked, though, right? Nothing new there. TKK, Blessed to Crochet. Good to see you guys. Jeremy Fowler, DS Kitty. Hello, hello, Russ Allen. What's going on, big dog? I hope you're having a mighty fine Friday. Not working too hard, I hope. Good to see you, man. And no, we don't have to eat 10 Reapers while skydiving. But I thought that was some good imagery for, I think my dad calls it no script when he does it like this, but I have no notes. I just have an idea and a dream. And we're going to see how it goes. Ori Shorts, what's going on? You are Soul. Hello, hello. Matrix Rabbit, love it. Robin Miners, Lisa Faircloth. Well, I think this will be a wonderful pick me up. I had a strange idea this morning, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. I think it's going to be at the very least fun and interesting, right? I'm a little bit less serious today. I know usually we talk about serious stuff with serious impact and yada yada yada. Today we're just going to kind of have some fun. 1 second. That doesn't help at all, does it? Maybe it helps a little. Lighting in here is strange. Cindy G, Barbara Aldrich, hello, hello, Matrix Rabbit. Well, I hope you get yourself a girlfriend and a new body, dude. Although the new body would probably be the most beneficial thing, right? I can't wait till they start making robot parts. Like, give me bionic legs immediately so that they can do all the walking for me, That's definitely something that I've been waiting for ever since there was a cartoon when I was a kid called Gargoyles. And much later in the show's history, right towards the end, some of the iconic bad guys got cybernetic augmentations. They became like part robot, part human. They had they could like zoom in with their eyes and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? I can't wait. Sign me up for the robot legs and the robot eyes, immediately. Beta, what's going on? Good morning. Tommy Bird. Heck yeah. And honestly, that little thought right there is not too far out of line with my idea. We'll get there. We'll get there. I was watching some Johnny Scoville skydiving videos and was listening to, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the YouTuber Mr. Ballin, but he's epic. He tells strange and mysterious stories, sometimes spooky, and they're wonderful stories. I'm not going to tell his stories, right? But he gave me an idea with one of his stories. I think it's worth fleshing out. It's worth discussing. Sandy Wandy and Gail Ryshawn, what's going on? What do you guys think of my my Drake video yesterday? I was so nervous, which is very strange because that's like stuff that I really enjoy, right? Music, hip hop, a rap battle, right? Legal implications. These are all things that I find fascinating. So I don't know why I was so nervous, but I think I did all right. Levitt has a question. Would you ever live on a Star Trek ship in space? Speaking of technology, absolutely. Although I may get sick of it. I definitely would give it a go. Blessed Crochet says, can we have a robot do the laundry and then put it away? That would be really great. Absolutely. I think the Jetsons were onto something, They really had some novel ideas on that show, did they not? Dale Cox says, Spanx, my family grew by 11 this morning. Blueberry had 11 pups. Oh my lord. What kind of breed again? Didn't you say you had a large, beautiful dog? That makes me wish I had a car, dude. The only reason I don't go get a dog is because I feel like without a vehicle, I would be doing my puppy a disservice. I wouldn't be able to take it on hikes. I wouldn't be able to, take it places and stuff. I just feel like I can't really get a dog until I get a car, dude. Until I get a working vehicle, right? Doggo, Argentina. That's right. I remember looking that up. Dude, congratulations, bro. That's way cool. That's so exciting. Those are beautiful, beautiful dogs. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, man. Not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous. Just a little bit jealous. You've got your hands full, I bet, though. Holy crap. You and Blueberry got your hands full. Matrix says yes on the Star Trek thing. 100%. Rosie the robot, yeah, little robot maid action. That's exactly what I was thinking. You can buy a Tesla robot to do this now. Not surprising. I wonder. We're probably entering this age rapidly, more rapidly than we think. Lol, I'd live on a starship, says Tommy Bird, only if I was the captain. Now you're fired. Heck yeah. No, I think being the captain of a spaceship would be pretty cool. Lots of responsibility in space, though. Who doesn't like puppies? All right, let's talk about this idea I've got. What do you guys think? All right, so I was watching / listening to a Mr. Ballin show, and I believe the thumbnail / title said, what if childhood trauma gave you superpowers? And I was like, what? What a novel concept. So let's let's just break down that question. That's what the wonderful idea was. What if our childhood trauma left us with superpowers? Now, we talk a lot about, or I shouldn't say we talk a lot about, I have talked about in the past, childhood trauma being a thing, right? Lots of people have childhood trauma. Lots of people have baggage and trauma that they carry around from the past, right? And some people end up being super kind and like very understanding and very empathetic. Like I think not necessarily directly due to their trauma, but in light of their trauma, right? But also some people don't end up nice people, right? Some people end up really deviant, really broken inside, right? And really hateful, right? Some people go the exact opposite way, right? Trauma does strange things to people. People handle and respond to trauma uniquely and differently. What if trauma also gave us superpowers? Now, again, this is not serious, right? This is a very out of the box, fun idea. But I think the implications of such an idea are very intriguing, right? So if you've got people in real life that are responding to trauma and ending up hateful or ending up super nice and empathetic, right? Opposite ends of the spectrum, a completely different reaction to the same stimulus or similar stimulus, right? Well, if it gave us superpowers, I think we may end up with a bunch of broken vigilante superhero villains running around. I'm actually kind of grateful that that's not something that actually happens. I think we would live in a very different world. Like, because in comics, the superpowers are always bestowed after some freak lab accident, right, or some exposure to some ray in space, right? The Fantastic Four. There's always a stimulus that causes the superpowers to um, populate, to be real, to exist. What if all you had to do was just, experience a little run of the mill? And when I say run of the mill, childhood trauma is pretty serious stuff, right? When I say run of the mill, I just mean, whatever childhood trauma, right? That doesn't take away from its impact or its importance or its severity, right? When I say run of the mill, I just mean any old trauma, right? Doesn't matter which one it is, but imagine. I wonder what kind of superpowers it would bestow, right? Let's take me, for example. Got to throw in a little neglect, a little drug addiction, and then throw in some care randomly from a side of the family you don't expect. I wonder what superpower that would create. Kim says, I think many survivors have intuition and psychic capabilities. I would have to agree with you. And I think that when you say psychic capabilities, my understanding of this is like empathy, like turned up to 115. It's just superpowered empathy. And when I say superpowered, I don't mean magic empathy, right? I just mean I think it's just empathy with the volume turned way up, right? And it kind of definitely feels psychic. I definitely get the impression that I get a lot more information from looking into somebody's eyes than I should. I definitely get that impression a lot. And maybe there is some truth to this after all. Hey, pathos. That's right. That's right. Good to see you. You are soul. Love it says interesting thought. Tommy Bird says the power to what? Never lose an argument? Well, then you'll never learn anything. Well, I guess that's true, right? That's definitely a crappy superpower, never losing an argument. Out of all the superpowers you could possibly have, that might be the worst. I mean, I guess form of a bucket of water is pretty bad. I guess we could do even worse. Happy Friday, Debbie Blair. Hopefully this isn't too out of the box. I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought that it would be very thought provoking. Beta says, for the record, if they invent a driverless car in the future, I will never get inside one. I think I have a healthy fear of smart machines. I definitely think that it's a little bit of a scary thought. It's all well and good until, I mean, if the machine can do everything by itself, what's to stop it from thinking for itself? That's my thought. And I'm not a scientist. I'm not an engineer or a robot designer, right? AI coding designer, right? I'm not any of those things. So I don't fully have an understanding of this, but if it can do all this stuff, what's to stop it from deciding to do it all by itself, right? It's a little scary to me. And something that doesn't have emotions, how can you teach a robot emotions? I don't know how you could teach a robot anything, right? So way above my pay grade, but a cold, unempathetic machine making decisions for itself is terrifying to me. Let's just be honest. It's only laziness that wants me, like the part of me that wants a robot to do my laundry is pure laziness, right? It's not there's not really a great reason. Like quality of life would go up, right? But am I going to spend that time doing good things? I might just spend that time doing whatever, staring at the wall, right? Is that bad? Is that good? I mean, there's some moral ambiguity when it comes to relaxing and working and all these things that we're talking about. I think it's definitely a personal thing. Cold, soulless, harsh robots, aka government, says Jeremy Fowler. I don't think you need a JK at the end of that. That's definitely how it feels. I definitely just feel like a tool to be used sometimes. But I go as far outside of the box as possible without like having the financial backing to go completely off the grid. I think I'm doing pretty all right. Overcoming our trauma is our superpower, says Gail. I love this. I think you're onto something here. And I mean, I think that may be the difference between the people that end up really, really hurt and angry and hateful and the people that end up, bettering themselves, right? I think that superpower, that overcoming the trauma versus the trauma overcoming you, right? I think that's the difference at the end of the day. I think we either beat our trauma or our trauma beats us. What do you think about that? Tommy Bird says, I think most people are inherently empathetic, just some more so than others. As I grew and matured, learned that ability by a different name, the spirit of discernment, and it doesn't belong to me. Ooh, very, very apt observation here, Tommy. Thank you for sharing that. And I think I agree. I definitely think that I agree. When I'm discerning, right? That's not really me doing that, right? I'm tapping into something. I'm definitely tapping into a power that's not completely mine. I 100% agree with you on that, Tommy Bird. I love that statement. Actually, sometimes I forget. Sometimes I forget. It's easy to get really self-absorbed if you're me. I think that's one of my shortcomings. A little self-centered, a little self-absorbed, a little ego. Definitely some of my shortcomings. Yadira, what's going on? Good to see you. Donna, hello. Lovett says, I wonder why some become kind while others become angry and bitter. What's the fork in the road? I think it's like the ability to stand stalwart in the face of adversity, right? I think it's giving up versus not. I think it's again conquering your trauma versus your trauma conquering you, right? Who's the master of what? Is my trauma the master of me, or am I the master of my trauma, right? I mean, I think that it's much more complicated than that, but if we had to break it down to a very general idea, right? I think that that's probably as good as we can do. What do you think? What do you think? Might be right. I might be. I have definitely been wrong before. Spend a lot of time being wrong, actually. That's how I learn these lessons. My hair is getting longer. I tell you what. Getting help versus avoidance, absolutely. And I mean, I think that we all have experienced a little bit of avoiding or escaping, otherwise we may not be here in this chat, huh? We learned firsthand the shortcomings of avoidance, huh? Good morning, Sharona. Good to see you. I don't know if I said hello to Roberta, but good morning, Roberta. It's wonderful to see you. Cindy G puts it in very clear, understandable terms. I didn't want to become the abuser in life, but a healer. So I moved forward. And honestly, I think that this is even better. Put simply, this may be the best put possible. I didn't want to become the abuser in my life, right? I wanted to be a healer. Right? I don't want to perpetuate the cycle that caused my suffering. I would like to stop it for someone else, at least for myself, right? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Gail Raishon says, my hair is getting whiter. That's that wisdom kicking in, Gail. Jess Gunn, good morning. Good to see you. I love that kitty pic. What a cute cat. I think the first sign of recovering from trauma is when you realize you have let go of being judgmental. And I think that I need to internalize that message a little bit, but I feel the truth just coming off of it. I wonder when I still feel judgmental now and again. You know what I mean? That part of me still rears its ugly head. And maybe that's just one of those lessons that's going to spiral back over and over. And I'm going to have to reassert my dominance over it. I think the first sign of recovering from trauma is when you realize you have let go of being judgmental. Hmm. Hmm. I would also be willing to wager that there's still some trauma I have yet to recover from. So maybe that's why I can't identify the letting go of the judgment, right? Sometimes I'm not judgmental. Sometimes I feel very judgmental and I have to check myself. So I wonder if that's directly related to trauma that I haven't recovered from. So curious. Definitely succeeding in the thought provoking thoughts today, folks. I swore at the age of 12 I would never be like them, says Kim. And I feel like I've had similar experiences and I've landed where I've landed. I don't know if I've really stayed true to that oath to myself when I was younger, but I don't think I landed in a bad place. Jeremy Fowler says, I feel that. I was on the abused end, and instead of feeling bad for myself and just spinning wheels, I had to make a change and turn it into positivity towards others. 100%, right? Otherwise, we're in quicksand and we're just sinking, right? Otherwise, we're just going to drown, eh? I think that we're getting closer to, I think that there's definitely something to this, right? There was a choice made at some point. Like, I cannot sit and wallow. I have to get up and do something. I have to do whatever I can, whatever is in my power. I need to do it, right? I can't just sit here and take this. I think that's definitely that's the beginning, right? The beginning of the future. Jess Gunn responds saying it can be an ongoing process till you work through it, but it comes. Well, thank you, Jess. I'm definitely working hard at it every single day. And I definitely feel like I'm getting closer and closer. It's strange. If at the beginning of my recovery journey, if I had tried to quantify like exactly how far I would go, what it would take, what kind of changes I would go through, I would never have possibly imagined the depth of this journey, right? Exactly what I'm going to learn, what kind of like there's another plateau and another plateau and another plateau, and then I'm going to fall off and have to climb again. But regardless, I keep discovering new things about myself, about my journey, about my past, my future, my present, about the world, about my friends. I keep learning new things, which is somehow surprising to me. Oh my Lord, Dale says, well, I was wrong. A dozen is what she had now. Wow, that's a lot of little puppers, dude. There's a ton of little puppies. 12 puppies. Wow. Anyone want a puppy? I totally do, man. I'm not gonna lie. Where I wonder what it would take to actually make good on that. I think you You probably live pretty far away from me. Where in the country are you located, Dale? If you don't mind telling me, we can also communicate on like Messenger or something if you want. Kind of do though, not gonna lie. Love it says seems like that feeling of I can't sit here in this anymore is step one to growth. Jeremy hops on and agrees and says, "Yeah, I think the other half of it entirely, sadness and anger, are almost the same." And I think the cool thing is we've all at least set foot on step one and two, right? We've at least come to the realization that we can't sit and accept this, right? We have to do something. We might not know what we need to do, right? But we know something needs to be done. So we're searching. We're searching for what's within our power. Thomasville, Georgia. Well, let me do some serious adult considering. Um, and maybe I will take one of those off your hands. I would really like to. I will say right out the gate, I think it's going to be very difficult for me to make that happen just due to logistics. But my heart wants one. So let me consider what realistically is within my power, Dale, and come back together on it. Millie the dandelion, what's going on? Good to see you. Hope Friday's treating you good. You're not at work, are you, Millie? Getting off early today? Hmm. Beta has some intriguing things to say. Look at all the children going into tantrums. They feel uncomfortable but don't know why. It's like it's easier for humans to express anger than to go to the roots of discomfort. I would have to agree with this. And I think that anger is just the alarm going off, right? Anger is supposed to like tell us to look deeper, right? Why are we angry? I think that anger is like a flag. Its purpose is to wave in the wind to let us know, like, hey, something's going on. Um, and exploring the roots of discomfort, I think, are a much more complicated thing to express, to understand, to delve through, right? Good morning, Heather. Good to see you. Good to see you. James Collins. Hey, bro. How are you this morning? My vintage moon. I'm really sorry to hear this. I have a hard time reading some of these statements sometimes when they're really tragic, and I always wonder sometimes if I should or not. I don't think I'm going to read this one out loud. This is the first Christmas. I feel like I'm honoring her life by being sober. I think that is beautiful. And I think that also is trophy worthy. I think that's way cool. Um, I'm glad you're with us, Vintage Moon. I'm glad that this Christmas is different than preceding Christmases, and I'm glad that it feels that way. Because I bet you the opposite does not feel good. Lioness Lou says, especially when I've been pushing the roots down for so long. And I think that this is our natural inclination, especially when we don't understand, right, what's going on. Like the tantrum example earlier for kids, right? When we don't understand why we're feeling this way, I think a natural response to that for humans is to push it down, right? To ignore it, to put it aside for later. And we never really come back later, right? Because we don't gain that understanding. And I'm really, really glad you're here, Linus Lou, because you're going to end up absorbing information around these kinds of people, the people that hang out here, that may help you uncover some deep dark secrets inside you, right? It may help you move through some of this stuff that is so hard to understand about ourselves, right? You're definitely surrounded by people that are going through similar journeys right now, myself included. Thanks for speaking up. I love your name and your thumbnail, by the way. Um, Takara's a lioness. She's a Leo. I've been thinking about her a lot lately. I'm going to give her a call later today and just chat her up, see how she's doing. Millie is sending bunches of love and robust magical wishes to everyone needing it today. Well, thanks, Millie. I definitely, I'll take some. I'll take some robust magical wishes any day. Jess Gunn says, I struggle to put stuff into words to my friends. Understand and know I have to process stuff before I can talk about it. And I think that that is just something that some of us have to do. I, for sure, need to be very careful with my words and how to word things. I experience this as well. Even with like my family, just when expressing things, I definitely have to take care. It's very, very easy for me to express something wrong, it feels like. And then we're not communicating, right? Now we're like having misunderstandings because I'm struggling to get these words out properly. And I think that's what you're saying. And I can relate with that. And my process, I feel like for each and every one of us, processing through our trauma, our thoughts, whatever we're processing through, period, I think is unique for every person, right? I am usually a pretty quick individual when it comes to processing through emotions. When it comes to connecting and communicating, I am slow. I take my time. I'm the tortoise, not the hare. And it's very strange. It's a big juxtaposition for me because I'm usually so quick. My brain's always moving fast, right? I'm making quick decisions and I'm not trying to waste any time. For some reason, my subconscious is trying to be as efficient as possible. Um, and sometimes I have to tell that part of me, bro, we just chill. We don't need to be peak efficiency right now, right? But all of that just to say, everyone processes things uniquely and differently, right? For some reason, when I process through emotions and baggage, I really need to take baby steps and take my time. It takes me a long time to understand why I'm feeling something, how I can fix it, how I can move through it. I don't know if it's like that for everyone, but for me, it's wildly different than my natural state. My natural state's very fast, right? So understanding that about myself has enabled me to actually process emotions, right? When before I was just trying to be at peak efficiency, right? So those things are just getting pushed aside, buried down, right? Come to find out, I hadn't processed through anything ever, So I had a big, a huge bag of over here, right, with your name on it. No, I had a huge bag of stuff to process through. Still do. Still do. I love these cartoons, Jeremy. Back in the day, childhood. I tell you what. Speaking of, I was watching, I don't know if it was like a YouTube short or something on Facebook. I tend to get really cool art stuff on Facebook, so I think it was Facebook, but it was like a time lapse or maybe just a video that was sped up of all these different art projects that this guy had been doing. And it looked like he was doing acrylic paint, but then he would frame it and he would like make 3D pieces of it. Like, so for example, he had an ATST from Star Wars, which is the two-legged walker thing with the laser guns, and he had it kind of on the left side of the page, and it was shooting a laser. And then he had a beautiful wooden frame. The laser struck the frame, like he painted this on there, and then he took like a grinding wheel and kind of like chipped up and like screwed up uh, the frame right there, and then kind of like painted it in and like made a 3D explosion where the laser gun was hitting. That's just one example. He had like the mystery machine with like a real spare tire. Like he painted the mystery machine and then the spare tire on the front. He like actually made it like 3D, like coming out. There was a bunch of different like, I guess mixed media is what you would call that, right? Art pieces. And I was like so intrigued. I kind of want to try something like that. I'm so far off from like making things look realistic. I want that more than anything. I want my frog to look like a frog, right? I want my waterfall to look like a waterfall, I can't wait. We're going to be painting today, by the way. 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern. By the by, we're going to try something different. Mel Brooks era of cartoons. Good stuff. Marla Simpson, welcome aboard. Welcome back. How are you? Happy Friday. For some reason, people are different. Brilliant. I know, right? Who would have thought? I love this. Love it says, yeah, what gets pushed down as a round bulb emerges later as Godzilla or Mothra, right? A giant beast that has to be taken down. Definitely is doing push-ups in the back, trying to get big and strong so it can win the fight. Win the fight with us. Anger's natural, Donna. You might just need an outlet to put your anger into that's productive, right? Some people do exercise and go to the gym. Some people will like punch a bag. I personally will, if I'm not exercising, I'll like paint with that emotion, right? Or I'll play my guitar thinking about whatever's making me mad. And I tell you what, you can transmute. I don't know if that's the right word. I'll use a different one. You can transform that anger into something else. You can just kind of give it to your guitar or give it to your art or give it to do something creative, something fun with that emotion inside you. And I bet you experience a change. I know it's easier said than done, right? Part of that is experiencing the emotion. Part of that is like sitting with it and walking through it, right? Um, but 100%, definitely that is a good word, transmutable emotion. Tommy Bird says, Spanx, sometimes fast isn't always efficient. Like when learning the bow staff. First slow is smooth, and then smooth becomes fast. This is a great example that I can understand. 100%. Um, I took karate classes when I was young, when we lived in Salt Lake originally. So I think like 10, 11 tops. And my sensei started a weapons class that did not end up being very popular. I ended up getting some like private lessons, and then he stopped doing the weapons class because nobody liked it. But we trained with the bow staff, and dude, I was like 11 years old. This thing, there's one size bow staff. This thing was so heavy. I remember I was playing with it in my room one time, and I smashed the light bulb in the ceiling on accident. My parents came running into the room. They're like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just destroyed the light, though." My dad was like, "It's okay as long as you're all right." You know how dads do. It was a pretty cool staff, though. It was like polished wood. It was huge and heavy. I remember the overhead movements were very difficult for my tiny body to do. I was much more adept at the, poking people in the face. Yeah, the batting cages in the driving range to hit a bucket of balls, definitely something I have used in the past to process through um, less than stellar emotions. I'm glad that you found that video funny. It scarred me, 100%. Will never be the same. That fish is something else, Kim. I tell you what, and I also tell you something. We experienced it, so you don't have to. I tell you what. I tell you what. I'm scowling. I feel like there's something going on in my tummy. And to think I almost put tincture in my coffee this morning. Glad I didn't. Little bit of a wuss lately. A little bit of a wuss. I heavily considered the tincture this morning, though. I have it right here. In fact, this grizzly heat stuff I think is slowly evaporating because that looks like less than the last time I looked at it, and I haven't been using it. So I feel like if I don't use it, it's just gonna go to waste. So moving back in that direction, I would like to What's going on, Murph? Good to see you, man. I definitely would like to start doing some tank again. Oh my. What am I thinking of? There's like a cartoon amorphous blob that like gets zapped and gets like kind of shakes and like go like I don't know. I feel like that's what my tummy did when the surstroming was in my mouth. My stomach tried to run in every direction at the same time. And obviously my stomach is one piece, so that didn't work. Kind of on a diet-ish, huh? I don't know what I'm on. I'm on a get my digestion in order. I guess that's what I'm on. The fish. Yeah, I'm good on the fish. You guys are so funny. You guys are so funny. I'm glad you find so much joy in that video. That makes it all worth it for me. Because I hated it. That was one of the worst experiences of my life. 100%. I'm glad you guys find so much joy in it because that makes it better for me. That makes it much, much better for me. You know, I didn't go to the Flow Jam again yesterday. I should have gone. Next week, I'm going to this thing. I wonder what the date's going to be on Thursday next week. The 19th. Perfect. Perfect, because the following Thursday, 2 weeks, I'm going to be headed to Salt Lake to see my mom. Pretty stoked about that. Well, I will tell you one thing. When I come in here with no plan, it's definitely a lot more free form. You know, we get to about 40 minutes in and I'm running out of things to say. So I think that it's probably going to make for a shorter show in the future if I do free fall Fridays or free fall any days. Um, Spanx, you have joy vibes today. Very free. Well, thank you. I'm feeling very free and vibey today. Tommy's probably at his house, RSM. He's most likely getting his day together and getting a show together for you guys to do later. Do you ask that every time you show up in my stream, RSM? Just curious. And I also wonder, are you asking that because you're concerned for him or you're wondering why I'm not him? Just doing research, trying to figure out what the deal is. Happy Freaky Friday. Is it time traveling Friday? Tommy's okay. He's not sick. He's fine. Um, he got a little extra sleep today, so hopefully that's not due to him not getting sleep, right? Hopefully that's due to him just having a good night's sleep. We'll see. Ask him for a friend. No, I think he's okay. Oh, that's right. His back is probably not doing super great. I did speak to him this morning. He sounded chipper, dude. He sounded great. So in fact, he sounded so good I forgot that he didn't do a show because of his back yesterday. So thank you for asking. I had completely forgotten about that. What a wonderful son I am, huh? Um, let's put some ones up for my dad's back, huh? That's probably a good plan. Oh, Robin Miners is RSM. Look at me, not knowing. I'm sorry about that, Robin. I am not sure if he had a reunion or not. And thank you for asking. I'm gonna have to ask him and see what's going on over there, huh? And again, I'm sorry, Robin. I wasn't. I didn't know. I didn't know. Definitely an added bonus, Kellyanne. I would hate, I mean, I definitely feel like I'm headed for similar pain. My body doesn't feel wonderful, right? So I'm making sure to do yoga and stretching as much as I can every day. I've already done some today. But dude, my legs especially feel busted and broken. They feel tight and like all the connecting areas, like behind my knees and like on the outsides of my hips. It all feels wrong and tight and painful. Speaking of, someone gifted some memberships at the very beginning, and I just talked right through it like a jerk. You are soul. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Casey, what's going on? Spanx, what do you think about the Maine Coon kitten your uncle is getting? I think it's a scam. I think that they got robbed. I think that the cat's not coming. I don't think it's ever coming. And I think that they spent a lot of money on this cat that's not real. That's what I think about it. I know that was way, way back when you asked that question earlier in the show. Unless there's news that I don't know about, and I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it, but I'm pretty sure that both my uncle and my dad spent a bunch of money on a cat that never came. Pretty sure that's what happened. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. TK, are you going to stream it, or is it just you're just going to be doing it? Experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. You don't always get what you want. You don't always get what you want. There's a bad flu going around. Ooh, well, hopefully he doesn't get that. My dad is prone to getting sick. You know, I might have that opinion inside of me because of all the withdrawals I watched him go through as a kid. Maybe he's not prone to getting sick, and that's just a false idea that I have in my head. That might be absolutely the case. Spanx will take photos and send you the real setup with all the dishes. Please do. Please, please do. I must. The Scovilles must convene on this information, on this material. We have to see it. We have to know. You know, funny story. I told my good friend Hunter that I talk about a lot about the surstroming, and he was like, "Dude, I love that stuff." He was like, "You should try kipper snacks." And I was like, maybe I will. I mean, because to hear him talk about it, he loves fermented stuff, and like I kind of like fermented stuff. Definitely not anywhere near as much as he does. Um, I'm I feel like, in fact, he spoke so highly of surstroming. I feel like we're talking about different products. You know what I mean? I feel like I have to bring him the surstroming that I had to really like see if he if that's real. You know, I feel like he must be talking about something that is actually delicious. Got to go check the smoker and Blueberry and her pups. Send them my best, Dale. Spanx, are you going to watch Ron do the hot nuts challenge? Absolutely. I wouldn't miss it for the world. In fact, I'm pretty sure that my cousin and I are going to be doing the similar challenge, same challenge, similar challenge, or same challenge coming up in the new year. My cousin's moving back to Arizona in 3 days, if my memory serves, and we're going to get into some Dungeons and Dragons campaigns and going to start hanging out. And he's an adult, he's a dad, he's a husband, so he's a busy man. But we're also going to carve out some time to eat some hot nuts on video and to do some Dungeons and Dragons. So I am looking very much forward to that relationship being rekindled. When is Ron doing the nuts, by the way, Murph? Do you have the info? James, if I ever find myself in a position to where I can come up to Canada, I would jump at the opportunity. I have been thinking about that since I started doing this thing and started making friends in Canada. I tell you what. What do you think about Sir Elton John's latest comment on legalizing marijuana is a mistake? I don't know. Let's read his statement. Elton John says marijuana legalization is a mistake. I can think of some points right off the top of my head why it would be a mistake. I can also think up some points right off the top of my head why it would be good, right? Pros and cons. I can think of both immediately. But let's see what Elton John has to say, huh? Elton John's not holding his tongue when it comes to legalized marijuana. This is from CNN. Legendary singer shared his thoughts about legalization of pot in parts of US and Canada. I maintain that it's addictive, he says. It leads to other drugs. And when you're stoned, and I've been stoned, you don't think normally. Come on, Mr. Elton John, are you serious? Is this all you have to say? Legalizing marijuana in America and Canada is one of the greatest mistakes of all time, says Mr. Elton John. John comes at it from the perspective of being sober for many years. Okay, here we go. Don't think that that's relevant. Gonna skip that part. It's talking about Elton John helping other stars get sober, which is really cool. I think that's wonderful. This is like some run of the mill. I got to stop saying that term. I think run of the mill is like the worst term ever. This is some pretty regular recovery stuff, guys. Although it could be written better. I don't want to call out whoever wrote this specifically, but it's really hard to carry they're having a hard time carrying a train of thought, which I guess I also struggle with sometimes. So like maybe I shouldn't be so judgmental, but it's talking about weed and then it immediately is talking about sobriety and recovery and like, you know, all the trauma that comes with that. But like there's a whole portion missing, I think, that is necessary to where like how did marijuana lead to all of this? Because I don't think that that's exactly what happened. And it's also not saying why he thinks if the only statement that he made on why it shouldn't be legal is that it leads to other drugs and when you're stoned you don't think normally, I think that's ridiculous. I'll tell you why I'll tell you the thoughts that I have. That does seem to be the end of that article. I'm going to come back to chat and make sure I didn't miss anything. What's going on, Scoob? Absolutely, Robin Miners, and I always will. I think today's experiment went astoundingly well. No script, just a fancy idea. Not even really a fancy idea, just kind of a funky idea, you know. And we had some fun thoughts, some fun conversations. It even brought forth real, like, conversation, right? It wasn't all foo-foo, out-of-the-box fun stuff. We actually talked about real concepts, right? It was thought-provoking in a way that was beneficial. So I think resounding success for today's experiment. And for yesterday's experiment, I think also a resounding success, although I'll be more comfortable next time. Because I definitely did not feel comfortable. And there's no reason for that. My thoughts, if Jimmy cracks corn and no one cares, why does he keep doing it? Well, he must like it a lot. Loads of fresh veggies in the garden. Well, that definitely sounds like a win to me. First we feast. Kellyanne, what do you think about his statements? Not enough depth in the article. Maybe there's another article. I'm going to look again. Maybe there's like an actual interview with the guy. Like, when did he say this? Under what circumstances did he say this? Was this on Twitter? What was it? Where did it come from? I think that's one subpar thing about this age of information, right? Anybody can cover any topic, which is wonderful. Anyone can research any topic. And some people like to talk about the topics and some people don't like to talk about the topics, but the fact that all this information is at our fingertips and everybody wants to talk about it, you end up getting the same story rehashed a bunch of different ways, right? But it's the same information. So finding the source material becomes extremely difficult. And finding, like, if I were to make a bibliography and cite all my sources, it would be super difficult as well, because a lot of these sources aren't citing themselves, right? A lot of these sources are, what is that, secondhand, third hand? What's the word for that? A lot of my sources aren't cited, they're not citable, right? We're just rehashing a rehashed story. But I have to say, if I could get to the absolute, what's the word? The advent, right? The creation story of any of these stories, I would pay great money for it. All of these seem to be the same thing, which is what I was trying to say there. I'm gonna click on one more and see if we got more. This one mentions cocaine. This also seems to me like propaganda. Someone that has experienced addiction, someone that like Elton John has, right? Someone that has experienced the depths of despair, right, that come along with such an addiction. I don't think that they would talk about weed like this, to be honest. And maybe I'm wrong, and I've been wrong many times. But these sound like words that were not crafted by the man himself. These sound like words that were written for him to say. That's my opinion. Allegedly. He is high as a kite in that photo. Holy crap. Well, I guess I'm going to share this photo because it's a good one. Never seen this photo before, but this is a photo of Elton John, and he looks high as a kite to me. I never doubted, you know? He's having a moment. 100%, Kellyanne. We need to get a celebrity on our side, right? That knows the struggle, that can't be bought, right? Someone that knows the struggle, that wants to speak the truth and not this propaganda bullcrap. Speaking of, we were talking about superpowers earlier. I was having a strange conversation this morning. This might be wildly inappropriate, but I'm going to go for it. Usually I say that, if I could choose a superpower, it would be breathing underwater or teleportation. Well, what if they called me Diamond Crapper? We'd be rich. Anyways, random thought of the day. Okay, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a difference. Good morning, Amy Edge. Hello, hello, welcome in. Unfortunately, I was just wrapping it up. Wow, look at your cute little dogs. Oh my, they're like two peas in a pod. They're so cute. We do this every morning if you're new here. What is it? 9:05 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. That would also be, I believe, 11 a.m. Eastern. So come check us out tomorrow. I will be back later today in about 4 hours to do some painting at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Superpower is kindness, 100%. Empathy is a superpower. And check out my dad later today. Y'all know the drill. Shout out to the mods. Shout out to the crew. Anyone new, everyone here. You guys are the best. You guys literally terraform my mornings every morning. For those that don't know, terraforming is the act of creating an atmosphere. And they use it in such sci-fis as Prometheus, Alien. Terraforming in that context would be providing an atmosphere for a planet that has none. Breathable atmosphere. Anyways, science aside, you guys have a wonderful day. Be kind to yourselves. You deserve it. And I love you. We'll see you later. All right, Captain Calhoun, this is the lifeboat. I'm getting out of here.